Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Gananāntva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kavim Kavīnāmupamashrabastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrunvannotibhis Sedasadanam Mahaganapataye Namaha. Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinama Vitriyavatu Ano Divo Bruhatah Parvatada Saraswati Yajata Gantu Yajñam Vagdevyai Namaha. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Sushtuvagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitanyadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashrabaha Swastina Pusha Vishvavedaha Swastina Starksho Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatir-dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarva dharmasvarupine Avatara Varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te Namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of Māṇḍūkya Upanishad with the Karika. We were in the last session looking into the 14th Karika. So what is Gaudapada Acharya telling in the 14th Karika? The first two. What are the first two? Jagrat and Swapna. So in that we have the Vishwa, that is the waker's body, and the Virat, the universe, waking universe. And in the second quarter, it is the dream. In the sleep, you have the dream, first state. So you have the dream body, dreamer's body, that is called the Taijasa. And the world, the Vishaya Vastu, the object of your enjoyment in that is the world, the universe, the dreamer's universe, that's called Hiranyagarbha. Now, these two, first two are associated with dream and sleep are common to both of them. But what about the third quarter Prajna? The Prajna, that is the third quarter which is associated with the deep sleep, Sushupti. So there you have a body called the Prajna, which is a potential body, the causal body, and the world is the deep sleep world, potential world. So this third quarter is associated with dreamless sleep, only sleep, no dream. So earlier the contrast and compare was with the cause and effect, the cause being self-ignorance and effect being self-misconception. So it was cause and effect of the Maya, time, space and causation. Causation is cause and effect. So out of that, the terms or the compare and contrast were done with the cause and effect. Now, Gaudapada Acharya is doing the compare and contrast with dream and sleep or dream. How is that? Let us understand. Are they different? No. The term is different, but we are going deeper and deeper, that's all. What is this? We gave the examples of Bhagavad Gita yesterday about Lord Krishna telling Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sayami. So the sleep, the worldly people, the materialistic people, they are awake to a different world, but the realized soul who have made the center, who have associated with the Parabrahman or Turiya, for them the waking state is something different. So wherever the worldly people, the materialistic people are awake, the people who have identified with the Parabrahman or the Prajna are sleeping. Wherever the materialistic and worldly people who are associated with these three worlds only, Vishayavastu, where they are sleeping, that is to spirituality, then there the Gnani, the realized soul, is awake. So you have to know this first, then you can understand the comparison and the contrast here of the sleep and dream. Okay, the same idea in this fourth, and also what was the one more line added in the Gaudapada Acharya's 14th Karika? Wise people, that is the Gnanis, see neither sleep nor dream in Turiya. In Turiya, sleep and dream both are not present. Just like in the earlier this thing, Gaudapada Acharya told, in the Turiya, the other compare and contrast, what was that? Cause and effect. And what was the other thing? The self-ignorance and self-misconception are both absent in Turiya. So now here in this 14th Karika, Gaudapada Acharya is telling the same idea is presented again with different terms, dream and sleep. So in the first two quarters, that is the waking, Jagrat and Swapna, that is the dream state. In the first two states, Vishwa and Taijasa are associated with misconception and ignorance. Because of the self-ignorance, there is a self-misconception. They are ignorance of what? What is the ignorance here? The ignorance of your true nature, your real nature, that you are the Atma, that you are the Paramatma, you are the Parabrahma, which is Satchit Ananda, infinite bliss, absolute, infinite knowledge, absolute, infinite consciousness, absolute, infinite existence, absolute. So you are unaware, you have the ignorance of this. So because of this absence of knowledge of your true nature, so there is the ignorance, self-ignorance. Then because of what is the result? Self-misconception. You are wrongly thinking the right to be the wrong and wrong to be the right, the real to be the unreal and the unreal to the unreal to the real. That's self-misconception. That's why you are identifying with the body, mind, ego and the bundle of character and thinking that you are weak, you are having misery, you are having the pain, all that thing we explained earlier. So now they are associated, Vishwa and the Taijasa, that is the first two quarters, they are associated with self-ignorance and misconception. The ignorant waker in the waking state, the waker, that is the Vishwa, is spiritually a dreamer. He is not awakened to spirituality or to his real nature. That's why he is sleeping there. Even though he is in the waking state, he is sleeping. I gave another aspect of that because see, you are awake now, but your mind will be thinking of the past, old things, or it will be thinking of the future. It will never be in the present. What is living in the present? That is awareness, mindfulness. So if you are living in the present, then you will be mindful of or aware of your true nature, Turiyam. You will live in the present. So even though we are awake, we are not in the present, living in the present, we are not aware of ourselves. So we are in the past or the future. So that's why we are as good as sleeping. So the ignorant waker is spiritually a dreamer. Only Gnani, the realized soul who has identified with the Turiya or Parabrahman, his true nature alone is truly awake, a waker. Now Prajna, what about Prajna? That is in the deep sleep, Sushupti, what is happening? So Prajna is associated with mere self-ignorance. ignorance, sleep. So he's in sleep. But he doesn't have misconception, no dream, because there is no world. Everything is potential. So no activity, no world. So now prajna is associated with mere self-ignorance without misconception, that is dream. Wise people, the people who have the intellect, the viveka, who are using the intellect, will neither see ignorance, sleep, self-ignorance or ignorance is sleep, or misconception, that is dream. So if you are always even waking, you are dreaming, that is misconception, because you don't want to be in the reality. But what about Turiya? Your true state, your real state? So the Gnani, one who has identified with the Turiya or the Parabrahman, will claim that they are the Turiyam, and there will be no, in that state, they will not have ignorance nor misconception of the dream, no sleep, no dream. So now we took up the example of Krishna telling that the Gnani who knows that is not a doer or enjoyer is neither the doer. There is no sense of agency, sense of enjoyment. So doership and enjoyership is not there. So Krishna describes that the Gnani, realized soul, knows that he is not a doer and enjoyer. In the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we gave that shloka, even while sleeping, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, reclining, breathing, talking, evacuating, receiving, opening the eye and closing the eyes, the disciplined knower of the truth understand, I do not do anything at all, bearing in mind that the sense organs and the Prakriti, they do everything. You are associated only with the Turiya. When you are not associated as a Gnani with the world, then even though you are doing all the activity, every activity, looking after your father, mother, parents, husband, wife, children, you are not touched by misery, you are not touched by papa, you are not touched by any problems. So that is a practical advantage. Further, Krishna refers to himself as seemingly a Vishwa. Where, in which shloka? What is this seemingly a Vishwa? What is meant by Vishwa? So Vishwa is in the waking state. So what is there in the waking state? In the waking state, you have a body, the waker's body, that is called Vishwa, and the universe in the waking state is called Virat. So there we have all this universe. You are awake, you are doing all your activities. So now seemingly all that I have created, Krishna tells seemingly that is a Vishwa. The first quarter, he identifies with the first quarter in the beginning. How? Let us see that shloka. Further, Krishna refers to himself as seemingly a Vishwa, but actually a non-doer and non-enjoyer. Krishna himself gives his own example. What is that? He is the creator of this world. He is the sustainer of this world. He is the destroyer, everything. So he is the Vishwa. He is the Virat. So he has created this world. He is maintaining this world. He is doing all the activity as the Lord, and also as the Ishvara, and as Lord Krishna is doing all intense activity, the Mahabharata war, Bhagavad Gita, and earlier he was a kingmaker in the Vrindavan, so much of activity, so many leelas, everything is done as a waker. So he is identifying himself here seemingly as a Vishwa, but he is telling actually, I am the non-doer, non-enjoyer, I am the Turiyam. I am not at all doing that. Even though I am doing all these things, I am not at all touched by that. So Krishna is giving his own example. So let us see what Krishna is telling in that. How, though he is the seeming waker, Vishwa, he is telling that he is not at all attached to that. Yesterday we took up the example of Padma Patra Vimam Vasa. Just like lotus and its leaf in the water, but it is not touched by the water, that Krishna gave that example. Though I am in the water, I am doing all this activity, I am doing everything, I am not touched by that. I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer. So now he is giving his own example by which we can learn. We can also follow Krishna. We can follow the example of Krishna. Though living in the activity, I gave the example of the beautiful example of the maidservant, where Ramakrishna is giving that example. So how can you do all the activities? Just like the maidservant, doing the work of the master. In some house, she would be looking after all the children, the wife, the husband, everything as her own, doing all the work. But she knows that her house is in the village, her children and husband or father or mother are there. Likewise, we should know that we'll be doing all the activity, but my identity, my association with the Paramatman, I am the Turiyam, that is my house. Mon cholo nijo niketane. You have to go back. You should be always identifying self, constant self-awareness. Ekatma pratyaya sara. So to be associated with that, do all the activity. Krishna is giving his own example. Now let us study that 4th chapter, 13th verse. So it will become clear how can we work like that? How can we be like that? How can we practice this self-awareness? How can we dissociate with the world? It is not giving up and running away to the cave or the Himalayas or the forest, but being in the world. You should be detached. You should be associated only with your true nature, but do all the activity. Krishna is giving his own example. What a practical way, isn't it? So let us see. Now, in one of the shlokas, Lord Krishna himself tells about how yesterday we discussed about that particular shloka. Today also we mentioned about that. What is that verse in Krishna explains about his own yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. So in the 5th chapter 7th verse, Krishna is telling, having mastered the body and sense organs, the pure-minded karma yogi becomes the Atman, becomes the Turiyam, which is the self of all beings. Though is doing all the work, is not affected. So here, as we go on practicing this Atma Pratyaya Sara, Ekatma Pratyaya, identity with the Parabrahman, your own self, constantly asserting that you are the Turiyam, you are the Atman, you are the pure consciousness, self-awareness. So what happens gradually? You all chant the Mahamrutyunjaya mantra. What is that? Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshi Amamritaat. So there, Trambakam Yajamahe, I'll worship, I'll pray. Trambakam, the three-eyed Lord Shiva. Sugandhim is having that wonderful fragrance. Pushtivardhanam, who is a nourisher. Urvarukamiva bandhanan. So you are praying to the Lord. Yesterday one question was there, how to pray? Urvarukamiva bandhanan. O Lord Shiva, or whichever God you want, you can pray. Just like the cucumber, it is now attached to the creeper through that one stalk, isn't it? So when it is raw, it is still attached, it is very strong. If you have to take it out, you have to use a lot of force. But when it dries up, what happens? Automatically the cucumber, when it dries up, it will fall from the creeper. Likewise, O Lord, let all these worlds, the attachment to the world, mrityu, the fear of death, fall away from me like the dried cucumber. Urvarukam iva bandhanan, from all the attachment, bondage, attachment to this world, association with this world, dependency of this world, waking dream or whatever. Urvarukam iva bandhanat, bandhana means bondage. Mrityoho mukshiyam amritat. So let me go towards that immortality. What is immortality? What is mortal? Death. What is immortal? No death. Do you think that amrita or some nectar, there will be some liquid and if you drink you will get immortality? What is the real meaning of it? Amrita. Amrita means no death. Amritatva means when you identify with this body, when you identify with this ego, when you identify with this bundle of character and when you identify with your mind, you'll be again born, death will come again, born, death, death and birth and death and birth, you'll be going again and again. So death will be coming. So when you identify, when you go back to your Turiya, your real nature, that is Atman, then you are going beyond death. No misery can touch you. So that association, that self-awareness is what you are asking. That is immortality. You will get immortal. Immortality will come to you if you identify, if you associate with the real nature, Turiya. So there, gradually, when you are practicing this every day, living in this world intellectually, then you'll get this, you are going towards that. As this prayer of the Mrityunjaya Mahamantra, another example can be given. Just as a raw mango ripens, and until it ripens, it holds on to the tree, and once it ripens, it falls. In the same way, initially we are all stuck up all these things with the finite things, enjoyments, world, minor things, materialistic things. Initially we are stuck up with all these things. But when we are practicing this Ekatma Pratyasa, or identity with your Atman, so you will naturally detach from the finite and materialistic things, and then you will start getting hooked to the spiritual goal. And that balancing is called Yuktatvam, Yoga Yuktatvam. And what is that? Giving importance to inner growth. So now you should remember, initially we are bothered about what I have. What do I have as possession? Initially we are bothered about that. What do I have as possession? So many other things. Whether we want it or not, we just tell to the neighbors. The neighbor purchased that, so I will also purchase that, and I will tell I have it. So this status, symbol, comparison, you go and buy so many things, you buy the houses. So we are all bothered about what do I have? But we are less bothered about what I am. Now, when you grow spiritually, when you attach with the Atman, with the Turiyam, your true nature, the I, real I, then you are more bothered about what I am. So ultimately, we will come to that. Now we are more bothered about what I have, less bothered about what I am. What we should become in our life, more and more important is ultimately a liberated person, a realized soul, possesses nothing. He doesn't have anything. You know, one of the Shankaracharya's stotra, Moolam Taroho, Kevalam Ashrayantaha, Panidvaye Bhoktum Amatrayantaha. So in that verse, Shankaracharya is telling, Kaupinavantaha Kalu Bhagyavantaha. Here Shankaracharya describes a gnani, a realized soul, Kaupinavantaha, who does not possess anything other than his lion cloth. But he is still a Purna, is complete. Therefore, ultimately what matters is not what I have, but what I am. So finally you will come to know, after all these purchases and that will not give you joy. You may buy a bed with money, but bed cannot give you sleep. You may buy a companion with money, but you can't have relationship with money. You can buy medicines but money cannot give you health. You can buy so many things, but money cannot. You will come to know later on. That's why, therefore, finally, you will come to know ultimately what matters ultimately what matters is not what I am, what I have, but what I am. What are you? You are the Turiya, you are the Atma Swarupa, you are the Parabrahma Swarupa, you are Satchit Ananda, pure consciousness. So ultimately you will come to know the important thing is not what I have, but what I am. So what is Lord Krishna telling here? The fourfold, the four categories of occupation, Chaturvarna, were created by me. In this world, all the people of different categories, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and because of that, the division has been done. Automatically it takes the division. The working class, the ruling class, the business class, the priest class, the scientists and other things. So everything gets, all this world with all the categories I have created. Lord Krishna is telling the four categories of occupations were created by me according to people's quality and activities. Although I am the creator of the system, the sustainer of the system, everything, know me to be the non-doer and eternal. Krishna is telling, even though I am the creator of all this world with all these varieties, know me to be the non-doer and I am the eternal. Karma vibhagashaha, by your quality, by your nature and the work you do. That is what Krishna is telling here. So it is not by birth. You are neither a Shudra, you are neither a Vaishya, Brahmana or Kshatriya by birth. It is by your guna and the work, the quality and the work you do. So what is Krishna telling in this verse? The verse gives a complete picture of the enlightened sage. Sorry for that mistake. This verse, here in this verse, Krishna tells to speak of the Supreme Self is responsible for activity, all the activities in the world, whether it is noble and ignoble. There are so many things, bad and good, everything are there mixed up in this world. So Krishna continues to speak as the Supreme Self, responsible for all activities in this world, in this universe, noble and ignoble. Without the Self, without the Atman or the Turiya, Krishna is telling no activity can take place. Yet the Self, the Atman, the Turiyam does not act at all. This verse describes as the Lord or the Turiya or Krishna as the non-doer and immutable, changeless. Now, can we get some example? It's very difficult to understand. He's a creator at the same time, is not the doer, is eternal. How can that be? Yeah. Now, let us give an example, beautiful example. The Self or the Atman or Krishna is identifying here as the Atman or the Turiyam and is telling the Self is like an electric current which enables many different electrical appliances to function, but itself does nothing. It is a non-doer also. The electric current can affect many changes through the appliances, but itself remains changeless. It changes solid to liquid and liquid to gas, yet itself remains immutable. So in this verse, the Self claims to have created. So Krishna is identified based on the three types of mental qualities called as Sattva, Rajas, Gunas. What is that? Tamas is the lowest state of mind steeped in ignorance and inertia. Rajas is passionate, desirous and agitable state, active. Sattva is equanimous, serene and poised. A human being consists of all these three gunas. The different combination of these gunas create the four varnas. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras are based upon these qualities, guna, not based upon birth. The classification of this varna exists all over the world, whether you want it or not. At one time, the sages of India systematized and established this classification. They then followed it up with an intelligent allocation of work, karma, the work, a division of labor, depending upon the mental temperament of each individual. So the Brahmanas performed the duty of spiritual teacher and advisor because it suited his temperament, equanimity. The Kshatriya, more prone to leadership and wielding weapons, protected and fought for the society to uplift the righteousness or to keep the righteousness, protect the good people, punish the bad people. The Vaishyas practiced business and trade, cattle rearing, animal husbandry, agriculture. The Shudras lacked any particular skill. He performed manual work for the sake of earning. So these four divisions were created from smooth and well-ordered transition of life's business. No law prohibited anyone from taking up the work he liked, based on temperament, not birthright. There was no rigidity in the division. Such system exists naturally all over the world, though perhaps not prescribed and practiced as in India or Hinduism. Now, coming to all this creation of the world with varieties, Krishna is identifying himself with the Paramatman or Turiyam or the Atman, telling, I have created all this world, but I am untouched by that. The pure consciousness is the primeval source of all these gunas. Without consciousness or your true nature, that is the Turiyam, nothing takes place in this world or universe. Consciousness supports external activities. It also supports the internal thought forces based on vasana, the desires, the causal force, which creates the gunas, and also the karma, all the activities. Krishna, here comparing himself with the pure consciousness, states that he is the author of all this creation of the world, but at the same time, as consciousness of the Atman, is the non-doer, is the eternal Lord, Paramatma. So now taking this example of Krishna, we can also practice this. When Krishna is doing and showing us the example, we can also dissociate. We can do all the activities, but we can dissociate from that. Now, although God is the creator of this, just as rain, water falls equally on the forest, yet from some seed, huge banyan tree grows, from other seeds, beautiful flower bloom, and from some other seeds, thorny bushes emerge. The rain which is impartial is not answerable for this difference. In the same way, God provides the soul with the energy to act, but they are free. But the soul, we are all free. We have the capacity to choose in determining what they wish to do with it. So God is not responsible for their actions. So now you may be working, you may be doing everything, but you can be like Lord Krishna, do all the work, but not touched by this world, like the lotus. So Krishna himself is giving his own example and explaining this wonderful way, the practical way by which you can dissociate though living in the world. Now we will go to the 15th Karika of Gaudapada Acharya. Here in this 15th Karika, Gaudapada Anyata Granhataha Swapno Nidra Tattvam Agnanataha Viparyase Tayoho Kshine Turiyam Padamashnute. So in the 15th Karika, Gaudapada Acharya is telling, dream belongs to one who takes the Atman differently. Anyata Grahanam. When you take your own true nature, the Atman or Turiyam, differently, but not as it is, then dream belongs to that person. Sleep belongs to one who does not know the Atman. Sleep belongs to the person who is ignorant, who does not know your true nature. Sleep belongs to him. Dream belongs to one who takes the Atman or the Turiyam differently. Anyata Grahana. When the flaw is these two, when the flaw in these two are gone, one attains the goal of Turiya. When you give up these two, sleep, that is ignorance, and dream, that is Anyata Grahana or misconception, when you give up these two things, ignorance and misconception, then you attain to the goal of Turiya. Turiya is yours, your real nature will come back to you, which you have already, nothing new. You have that within, you are, your true nature is that. You will reclaim it, that's all. So how can we reclaim? By giving up these two things. Here, in the previous verse, Gaudapada Acharya has used the word Nidra and Swapna, sleep and dream. Now they are not regular expressions but loaded with special meaning. Gaudapada Acharya has not explained the special meaning so far. In this verse or in this Karika, he does so. Now, dream in Vedantic parlance refers to self-misconception. Dream in Vedantic parlance refers to self-misconception. Even a waker, even though you are in the waking state, you are a dreamer as long as we have self-misconception. Sleep in Vedantic conception is the ignorance of the Tattva. What Tattva? Your true nature, the real nature. What is your real nature? Turiya, Parabrahman. So, ignorance or sleep in the Vedantic perspective is ignorance of your true nature, Tattvam, that is Turiya. As long as these two are present in you, the transmigratory samsara will never end. All the miseries, all the problems, birth and death, you have to undergo again and again. As long as these two, sleep and dream. What is sleep? Self-ignorance, forgetfulness of your true nature. What is dream? Self-misconception, Anyata Grahana, taking the reality to be unreal and unreal to be real. That is misconception because of the ignorance. So these two, until you give up, you will go on in this transmigratory existence. Unreal thing, you have to undergo so much of pain, problems, death, all the miseries you have to undergo. So what is the remedy? Give up these two things. Then it is easy to dissociate and associate with the Paramatman. You can claim your true nature back. So when one of them, the self-misconception is absent, we will, as we are doing this compare and contrast, we will see what if one is given up. What is that one? Self-misconception. When this dream is given up, dream of this world, dream of this waking world and dream in the dream of the dream world, everything. If you give up that misconception is absent, we get a temporary rest. Example is when you are in deep sleep. When you are a prajna, when you are in deep sleep, sushupti, so you get a temporary respite, isn't it? There's no pain, no samsara, deep sleep. Ah, so nicely you enjoyed it, isn't it? See, it is already there. You are having that reflected joy. not the pure consciousness or the pure joy, reflected joy. So there is temporary respite. But as soon as you get up, again, you have the problem. You have to get into this problem, all the problem. So in your deep sleep, it is as good as dissolution, pralaya, laya. Laya, dissolution of the world, everything has stopped. But samsara, transmigratory existence, all this world will continue afterwards. It will come back as you wake up. So that is, you get the temporary respite. Temporarily the problem will be solved when you give up self-misconception. Both ignorance and misconception is eliminated, then you get permanent eternal joy. One attains to Turiya, your true nature, Parabrahman, which is nothing but claiming one's own glory. Now, do you know? Ramakrishna in the Gospel tells so many times, tying the knowledge of Parabrahman, Brahma Gnana, at the hem of your cloth. What is the hem of your cloth? You know, in Bengal and in rural India, the key or important thing, they will take up this hem of the cloth. Either the mothers will have the sari or the pallu. So at the edge of the cloth, they will keep that valuable things, so that in those days maybe they didn't have pockets or something like that, or baskets, so they used to tie it at the hem of the cloth and put a knot like this. So they will put a knot like this, knot. So the valuable thing will be inside. So that is the tying in the hem of your cloth. So valuable things, maybe ruby or gold or whatever, the keys would be tied there to the hem of the cloth like that. So Ramakrishna is telling, you tie the Brahma Gnana, you get that love of God or the knowledge now. So you cannot, if you realize Brahman, then what is there to live in this world? We will be gone. But he is telling, you get that knowledge of Brahman, which intellectually understand this Brahman, that your true nature is Paramatman and what are the true nature. Then keep that knowledge at the hem of your cloth, then go do whatever you want in the world. It will not affect you. Ramakrishna tells in the Gospel, many of us will not understand what is this. How can we tie the hem of the Brahma Gnana at the hem of the cloth and live in the world? Will not understand. See, now you get a clear idea here. So intellectually you understand that you are the Parabrahman, you are the Turiyam, the real I is that. Associate with that I always. Ekatma Pratyayasara is tying the Brahma Gnana at the hem of the cloth. Ekatma Pratyayasara. So then you are aware that you are the Parabrahman always. Constant self-awareness of your true nature. Tie at the hem of the cloth. Then live in the world, do whatever. It will not affect you, it will not trouble you. There is no misery. See how nicely Ramakrishna has given that wonderful example. Another example given by Ramakrishna, very simple example is, you know, in India, other places also you can get it, in South Africa also you get it. What is that fruit? Jackfruit. So when you cut the jackfruit, inside the jackfruit there will be the sticky substance. Once you cut it without preparation, then the sticky substance can stuck up to the ground or into your hands and your cloth and everything, and it's very difficult to remove it afterwards. Very, very difficult. You have to take great pain to remove it. So how do the people in India or elsewhere cut the jackfruit? First they will take this oil, some oil, maybe coconut oil or whatever, the mustard oil or whatever oil they will take. They'll put it to the knife, they'll put it to the hands, they'll smear it to the hands, then they will smear it to the ground, or even they will keep a piece of paper or whatever, or a vessel, and they will, the plate, big plate, and that also they will smear it with oil. Then afterwards they will cut the jackfruit. Then what happens? This gum or that sticky substance, though it is very dangerous and very problematic attachment, bondage. You see, attachment, bondage, the problems, all the transmigratory existence, the misery of the world are like this sticky substance. So that sticky substance cannot touch the knife or your hands or your cloth or the vessel. So safe now. So when you have to enter the jackfruit, you have to get the preparation. You have to make the preparation and then only enter the jackfruit. Otherwise you will be in trouble. You will have all the problem. So now Ramakrishna tells, smear your hands, the knife and all the other things, vessel, with the oil of devotion or oil of gnana. Devotion to the Lord. Or the same thing, devotion, Shankaracharya tells, the highest devotion and highest gnana are one and the same. What is bhakti? Bhakti is again gnana only. They are one and the same. So Ramakrishna is telling, first develop bhakti, devotion to the Lord, or get this gnana, Brahma gnana, the knowledge of the God. Identify yourself intellectually at least with the Brahman, constant self-awareness. Then enter into the world, the misery cannot touch you. See that wonderful example of jackfruit, how you can relate to the knowledge of the Atman, constant self-awareness, then you will not be in trouble. So these examples will help us understand this practically how can we put this into practice. Day-to-day life, in our day, how can it be made relevant, all this knowledge? Otherwise it is just like very hard nut to crack. The Māṇḍūkya Upanishad is very, very difficult until we connect it to our life. Make it practical. That's what I'm connecting with the teachings of Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda and all these things, Bhagavad Gita. Then it is so palatable, so beautiful, you get so much of joy. So, when you give up both these two things, what is that? Sleep, that is ignorance, ignorance of your self, ignorance of your true nature, then misconception, that is dream, both of them, then you are eliminating both ignorance and misconception, you attain to your true nature, that is Turiya, pure consciousness, pure joy, infinite joy, which is nothing but claiming one's own glory, one's own true nature. So now, here Gaudapada Acharya will go and make it a little more practical and easier. Commenting on the 7th mantra of the Māṇḍūkya Upanishad, Gaudapada Acharya first gave the definition of Turiya. He told what is Turiya, what's its nature. And thereafter he makes a compare and contrast study of the 4 quarters. He pointed out that the first 2 quarters, the waker and the dreamer, are associated with the 2 problems. What are they? Self-ignorance and self-misconception or error. There is a mistake. Waker and dreamer identities are misconception arising out of ignorance of the true nature, Turiya. The prajna, the 3rd quarter, the prajna, the deep sleeper, has got only one problem, that is ignorance. But he doesn't have the other problem. He is blissfully in ignorance. The world doesn't touch him. There is no problem of the world, no misconception, and there is no world problems, no misery in the deep sleep state. The prajna has got only one problem, that is ignorance, and does not have misconception. So there is only respite temporarily. Until he is in the deep sleep, well and good, he is blissful. People go to take bath in Ganga. What happens? So Ganga is very pure. The sins cannot touch it. The moment you go to take bath in Ganga, all the Ramakrishna tells in that story, all the sins will take the form of birds and it will go and perch on the tree. It will wait. You go take bath, there is no sin, wonderful. You are so happy. Then afterwards, you finish the bath from Ganga and come out of the Ganga, then again all that birds of sins will come and catch hold of you. Sins will come back to you. Ramakrishna tells this story, isn't it? You remember that in the gospel. See here, that is the prajna avastha. So here, until you are in the deep sleep state, there is still ignorance. You have the tendency to do the sins. Tendency be in this world and go to the materialistic enjoyment. Ajnana is still there. So temporarily you have got respite. You'll be out of problem, danger. But the moment you come out, Ajnana will catch hold of you. And again in the same world, the pain, the problem will come. So temporary respite as a prajna. That is so nicely explained by Gaudapada Acharya here. You can connect that wonderful story of Ramakrishna there in the gospel. So waker and dreamer identities are misconception arising out of ignorance of Turiya. But the prajna has got only one problem, that is ignorance, and does not have the misconception. But Turiya, your true nature, which you have to identify now, claim back your glory. Or Turiya as Atman or Parabrahman, Turiya is free from both ignorance and misconception. So then later on, ignorance was referred to by 4 words. What is that? Ignorance, non-perception, sleep, and cause. These were the 4 different terms used here for ignorance. Error was also referred to by 4 words. Misconception, what is that? Ahankara, non-apprehension, dream, and effect. These were the 4 different words used for misconception or the error. So, Turiya, that is your true nature, is free from both these problems. Ignorance of your true nature, Turiya, is a problem for the entire humanity, because that is the cause of this transmigratory existence and all the miseries. Ignorance of the true nature. Ignorance, absence of the knowledge of your true self itself does not cause the problem, but mixed with error, it causes the problem. Mixed with misconception, it causes all the problems of samsara. During deep sleep, sushupti, only ignorance is present and there is no samsara. There is no transmigratory existence, there is no misconception, there is no misery. But samsara or the misery comes back upon waking. So both ignorance and error or misconception have to be eliminated. Error alone cannot be eliminated for good without the removal of ignorance. Error needs to be removed for the elimination of the samsara, for the misery. And ignorance has to be removed to prevent error or misery from coming back. A gnani, a realized soul, who has eliminated both the error, that is misconception, and ignorance, that is a self absence of knowledge of your true nature. A gnani who has eliminated both, he attains Turiyam. What is attaining Turiyam? Are you getting it something new? No, you are reclaiming your true nature, your glory. You are already that, you have that, there is nothing new. But you are forgetful of that, you are reclaiming it. So he claims, the Gnani claims Turiyam or Paramatman or Parabrahman as himself and attains Turiya, which is ever free from all the miseries. So we have got so much of joy and knowledge of our true nature. We are getting so much of beautiful, intellectually we are convinced by all these things. It's all intellectual gymnastics, but it is giving a lot of joy. It is intellectual joy. But if we practice that constantly, you can reach that higher state easily. So we gave the example of just like that the mango or the cucumber in the Mahamrutyunjaya mantra, it falls off after it dries. So like that, the immortality or the fear of death or the fear of samsara, everything, the misery will fall off as you go on practicing it. Pratyabhigna, ekatma pratyasara, constant self-awareness. So we will go to the 16th Karika in the next session, if the Lord permits. If Lord wills, we will take up that 16th Karika and study it tomorrow. Now, if you have any questions on what we have discussed today, you can ask. Any doubts, any questions? Dr. Kailash Chandra Pradhan. Pranam Swamiji. Swamiji, does Sushupti state exist only until consciousness is in the form of beings, experience both dream and waking world, and once it realized its true self, Sushupti exists no more? Yes, when you realize your true nature, then there will be no sleep or ignorance or self-misconception or the what you call dream. Everything will go away. Then there will be no prajna or even that sushupti. You will be, that is called samadhi, or you are in your true nature, turiya. So everything, all the problems will go away. But in prajna, it is only reflected consciousness or the reflected joy. You will be blissfully in ignorance, that's all. So that is the difference. As I've told many times, what is the difference between, because nidra samadhi sthitihi, in sushupti also we are merging in the Parabrahman. Every day in this deep sleep state, we are merging in the Parabrahman, in God, but with the cover of Ajnana. The Ajnana cover is still there. So I gave the example of Yatishwarananda Ji Maharaj, telling that a fool or an ignorant person, a Gnani, entering into deep sleep state, he will come back still as a fool or an ignorant person. But a ignorant person or a fool entering samadhi or realizing the Parabrahman is true nature, he will come out as a Gnani, a man of wisdom. That is the difference. So, does Sushupti state exist only until consciousness is in the form of beings, experiences both dream and waking world, and once it is realized its true self, Sushupti exists no more? Yeah. Sushupti also will go away, because in Sushupti there is self-ignorance. When you realize God, self-ignorance also will go away. So once self-ignorance goes away, then where is the question of sleep or deep sleep or Sushupti? Any other questions or doubts here in the Google Live? If you don't have any questions, then we can conclude with the prayer. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Namaste. Thank you. Om Namo Narayanaya. Tomorrow morning, that is Thursday morning at 6:30 South African time, and 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, 3.5 hours after that in Indian Standard Time, we will be meeting to discuss the life of and teachings of Ramakrishna Anandaji, Shashibhushan Chakravarti, a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. So all are welcome to it. Namaste. Om Namo Narayanaya.
Mm-hmm.